Welcome to my channel, everyone. I'm here with my little mate who's seen a few movies in his day. Welcome, Phil.
G'day, Dave. How you been?
Yeah, I'm real good, Phil, thanks. Now we're here today to review the movie Scent of a Woman. I know it's an oldie, but believe me, it's a beauty. My main reason for wanting to do this movie is the final scene, so I won't harp on too much throughout the movie, but give you a feed into the culmination of what I believe is one of the best and most stirring scenes in a movie ever. It's a beauty. Now, it's a Martin Brest film featuring Al Pacino, who plays the part of Lieutenant Colonel Frank Slade, retired, and Chris O'Donnell, who plays the part of Charlie Sims, who's a scholarship student attending Baird.
You forgot to mention that the Colonel is blind.
Yes. Yes, that's right. Colonel Slade is blind, completely blind, as a result of two things. One, being drunk, and two, juggling live grenades and doing them both at the same time.
Yep, that'll do it every time.
Anyhow, Charlie accepts a job with a family over Thanksgiving to mind Frank Slade. The niece wants to take a family on holidays. Charlie needs the job to raise the money to go home at Christmas to be with his family. He only discovers Frank Slade is blind once it's there, and the meeting doesn't go too well, does it, mate?
Well, that's somewhat of an understatement, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right, Phil. It doesn't go real well for Charlie, and he tries to get out of the job, but the niece begs him to take on the job, which he does.
I believe President Bush went to Andover, Colonel.
You sharpshooting me, punk? Is that what you're doing? Don't you sharpshoot me. You'll give me 40. Then you're gonna give me 40 more. Then you're gonna pull KP, the grease pit. I'll rub your nose in enlisted men's crud till you don't know which end is up. You understand?
Yeah.
What do you want?
You mean what I want?
What do you want here?
I want a job.
A job.
I want a job so I can make, my plane fare home for Christmas.
Oh, God, you're touching.
So there we have the beginning of the movie. As I said, we won't go through the whole lot in detail, but this movie does deserve to be in your bucket list.
Well, Dave, one of my favourite scenes is where Frank dances with that lovely young lady who is in the restaurant waiting for her boyfriend, and Frank and her do the tango. Frank is trying to set her up with young Charlie.
Yeah, mine too, Phil. But the one scene I really like to highlight before jumping to the end is where Frank goes to visit his brother. There's a really good scene here. Let's jump and have a look at that.
Yep, Dave, let's do it.
Just get the fuck out of here. When you get in your limousine, go down to the Bowery, get with the other fucking drunks where you belong.
Okay, enter the son-in-law Randy, or I should say the nephew, or whatever his relationship is. Honestly, I'm not sure. But what I am sure of is that he's about to get way more than he bargained for. He thinks he can stand up to Frank. Bad move, buddy.
Hey, wait a minute.
What?
Just take it easy.
What for? You want me to lay off him, Chucky, because he's blind?
No, but I mean...
My friend's name is Charles. He doesn't like to be called Chucky.
this is supposed to be like a family get-together. This is...
Just a warning.
And right there, Randy makes his first mistake. He calls Charlie Chucky, thinking it's funny. But you can see it in Frank's face. Oh, he's not laughing. Frank's protective of Charlie, and he's got zero tolerance for disrespect, especially from this guy. Pro tip, if you ever seated across a former army lieutenant colonel, maybe you don't act like this guy, as if you're bulletproof.
Jesus Christ, another sucker who thinks this shitheel's a war hero. Well, once, maybe. Suppose he told you about his days on Lyndon Johnson's staff? Did he tell you that?
I was gonna go. Now I'm not leaving.
Yeah, Frank was earmarked for general.
Earmarked. Good word.
But Frank likes to spit in everybody's eye.
Randy, that's enough.
So they, what do they call it, Frank, when they give you the shaft in the military?
Passed over.
Right, Frank was passed over for promotion. A couple times. You want to know what happened then?
Will you shut your mouth?
He blew himself up.
Stop it, Randy.
Our colonel here had a grenade juggling act at Fort Bragg or wherever it was they dumped him.
Fort Benning.
He was teaching hand-to-hand combat to second lieutenants in the
Randy,
infantry
look
school.
at me when you're talking to me now, son.
I'm looking, Frank.
Now you can feel it building. Randy's laying it on thick, poking at Frank's vulnerabilities. He thinks Frank's an easy target because of his blindness, but we all know Frank's vision is a whole lot sharper than Randy's common sense.
His partner in the act was some captain.
Major Vincent Squires.
Yeah, whoever he was. Before going on, they'd have themselves a low-cal breakfast. A screwdriver for Frank, Bloody Mary for his partner.
No, Vincent drank sea breezes.
Judge advocate at Benning said Colonel Slade had 4. To his partner's 1. He's really flying in class. He gets all excited. He starts pulling the pins out. One grenade got away from him. Boom.
One that got away.
And there it is. Randy crosses the line, questioning Frank's entire life, his service, his blindness, everything. You can almost hear the record scratch as the room goes dead silent. Frank's had enough.
Well, the pin was in, Frank claims. In or out, what difference does it make? What kind of fucking lunatic juggles grenades?
Vinny came out okay.
And all Frank lost was his eyesight.
Frank might be silent for now, but we can tell it's just the calm before the storm. This is a man who's seen more battles than Randy's ever dreamed of. And Randy, he's about to get hit with a reality check. Really hard.
You want to know the truth?
You got a handle on that, do you, Randy?
He was an asshole before.
Hoo-ah.
Now all he is a blind asshole.
Hoo-ah.
Wait for it, wait for it. This is the bit you're really gonna like.
Hey, God's a funny guy.
God doth have a sense of humor.
Maybe God thinks some people don't deserve to see. You get the point, Jackie?
His name is Charles.
You can say that, can't you? Charles. Well, this is Randy. It's a Ranger chokehold. Teaching those second lieutenants.
Colonel, let go,
Little
please.
pressure. I bust your windpipe.
Colonel, I don't care what he said to
After
me, all right?
Charles.
Colonel, just let go, please.
Okay, pretty powerful stuff. What do you reckon, Phil? Yeah. Okay, Phil, I'll get you to give an overall description of the movie, because we won't do any more specific shots before we go directly to the final scene, which is what this is all about. It's a very inspiring goosebumps moment at the end, but just give us a bit of a rundown of what takes place throughout the movie and the guts of the movie, actually, if you wouldn't mind, mate.
Sure, Dave, no worries. You see, it's all about Charlie learning about Frank's struggles with his blindness and his disillusionment with life. Frank, meanwhile, learns about Charlie's moral dilemma at school. Charlie had witnessed some fellow students setting up a prank on the school's headmaster, Mr. Trask, but refuses to identify them. This creates tension with the headmaster, who threatens to expel Charlie if he doesn't comply. Throughout their time together, Frank and Charlie form a deep bond, with Charlie influencing Frank to find reasons to live.
Well, thanks for that, Phil. Much appreciated. As I said from the beginning, this review really has been all about the final scene, which we'll show now, and we've given a lead into that, what's basically taken place throughout the movie. And poor Charlie, he believes he's come back from his trip to the city, and believing he's got to face the board and the whole school on his own up on the stage, and unaware that Frank Slade had different ideas. So do you have any final words before we go to this clip, Phil?
You mean other than commenting on that long-winded intro into the best scene in the movie? Jesus, mate, you need a break. Give me a go at it. Okay, folks, it's time for the most awe-inspiring scene you are going to see in any movie. Dave was right, though. Lots of goosebumps with this one. Stick with it to the end, 'cause you won't be disappointed. It's a real gem. Well, how was that, Dave?
Well, that was brilliant, Phil. Yeah, thanks, mate. And before we go to this clip, I'd like to apologise for some of the noise distortion. I still haven't been able to work out what's going on, but yeah, I'll work on it. I'll eventually solve it. Okay, this is it.
Allow me, Dave. I'll just set the scene somewhat. You can see the whole school is present as the disciplinary hearing is about to get underway. We can see the atmosphere in the hall is tense and formal. Headmaster Trask is determined to pressure Charlie Sims into naming the students responsible for their recent prank. Charlie, sitting in front of the school's disciplinary committee, remains stoic and silent, adhering to his personal code of integrity. The students and faculty watch in uneasy anticipation, waiting for the proceedings to unfold.
I called an open meeting of this institution this morning because the incident that occurred this Tuesday last describes an issue that concerns all of us. Not an isolated case of vandalism. What happened is a symptom of the sickness of a society. A sickness which runs counter to the principles this school was founded on. A school among whose graduates 2 have sat behind the desk in the Oval Office in the White House. Baird men have run State Departments and investment houses, founded department stores, and coached football teams. Our alumni receive their bulletins in ashrams in India and in palace.
In an unexpected twist, Colonel Frank Slade, impeccably dressed in his military uniform, enters the hall. His presence commands immediate attention and respect, creating a stir among the attendees. This unexpected appearance is a surprise, especially to Charlie, who didn't know Frank would be attending. Despite his usual gruff demeanour, Frank has come to support Charlie, recognising the young man's stand for what is right.
In Jordan, we are in fact known around the world as the cradle of this country's leadership, a beacon each other from those who threaten it. Who is this, Mr. Sims?
This is Mr. Frank Slade, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army, retired. I'm here in place of Charlie's parents.
Excuse me?
In loco parentes. They could not make the trip from Oregon today.
And what is your relationship to Mr. Sims?
Is this a courtroom?
The closest thing we could manage to it.
And if we're taking oaths, there's a few people I'd like to swear in.
There are no oaths at Baird. We are all on our honor.
Larry and Franny Sims are very dear, close friends of mine. They've asked me to appear here in Charlie's behalf. Okay?
From the moment Frank Slade speaks, although he might be blind, but his sharp words and commanding presence allow Mr. Trask little room but to accept his presence beside Charlie.
Happy to have you with us, Colonel. Mr. Willis.
Which Mr. Willis?
George Jr., sir.
Yes.
You were in a position last Tuesday night to see who committed this act of vandalism. Who was it?
Well, I have an idea who it was.
No, not an idea, Mr. Willis. Did you see or did you not see?
Well, I didn't have my contacts in.
Now from the very start it's clear Mr. Trask is going to take it easy on the Willis family, being influential benefactors and all of the school, and after a not so brutal attempt at getting names off the students who ridiculed him in public from young George Willis, Mr. Trask then turns his attention to young Charlie, trying to manipulate the situation to force Charlie into a confession.
You know, why don't you ask Charlie? I really think he was closer.
Well, I saw something, but I couldn't say who.
All right, what was the something you saw?
I couldn't say.
You couldn't say or you wouldn't say?
No, I just couldn't say.
Couldn't, wouldn't, shouldn't. Mr. Sims, you're exhausting my patience and making a mockery of these proceedings. I will give you one last chance. The consequences of your response will be dire. By dire, Mr. Sims, I mean your future will be jeopardized permanently.
Here we see Charlie's nerves on full display. His voice wavers, but he speaks with a quiet determination. You can tell he's not used to standing up to authority like this, especially someone as intimidating as Mr. Trask. But despite the pressure, Charlie chooses to stay true to himself. He doesn't give in or take the easy way out by ratting out his friends.
Now, for the last time, what did you see last Tuesday night outside my office?
I saw somebody.
I saw somebody. Good. Did you see their size and shape?
Yeah.
And they were the size and shape of whom?
They were the size and shape of...
Now take a look at Frank. He's letting Charlie handle it, giving him the space to respond on his own terms. Slade is watching carefully, almost testing Charlie, seeing whether the kid has the backbone he thought he had. It's a powerful moment of quiet tension, where Frank holds back, letting the boy take the spotlight.
Of most any Baird student, sir.
I am left with no real witness. Mr. Willis's testimony is not only vague, it is unsubstantiated. The substance I was looking for, Mr. Sims, was to come from you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too, Mr. Sims. because you know what I'm going to do inasmuch as I can't punish Mr. Havemeyer, Mr. Potter, or Mr. Jameson, and I won't punish Mr. Willis. He's the only party to this incident who is still worthy of calling himself a bared man. I'm going to recommend to the disciplinary committee that you be expelled. Mr. Sims, you are a cover-up artist and you are a liar.
What follows is one of the most compelling speeches ever delivered on film. Check out these most spine-chilling parts.
But not a snitch.
Excuse me?
No, I don't think I will.
Mr. Slade.
This is such a crock of shit.
Please watch your language, Mr. Slade. You are in the Baird School, not a barracks. Mr. Sims, I will give you one final opportunity to speak up.
Mr. Sims doesn't want it. He doesn't need to be labeled still worthy of being a bared man. What the hell is that? What is your motto here? Boys, inform on your classmates, save your hide. Anything short of that, we're gonna burn you at the stake? Well, gentlemen, when the shit hits the fan, some guys run and some guys stay. Here's Charlie facing the fire, and there's George hiding in Big Daddy's pocket. And what are you doing? You're gonna reward George and destroy Charlie.
Frank talks about integrity, courage, and the value of a person who refuses to sell out their principles, even when faced with severe consequences. He chastises the school's leadership for trying to sacrifice a student to protect their own interests, emphasizing the importance of nurturing young minds rather than tearing them down.
Are you finished, Mr. Slade?
No, I'm just getting warmed up. I don't know who went to this place. William Howard Taft, William Jennings Bryan, William Tell, whoever. Their spirit is dead, if they ever had one. It's gone. You're building a rat ship here. A vessel for seagoing snitches. And if you think you're preparing these minnows for manhood, you better think again. Because I say you are killing the very spirit this institution proclaims it instills. What a sham. What kind of a show are you guys putting on here today? I mean, the only class in this act is sitting next to me, and I'm here to tell you, this boy's soul is intact. It's non-negotiable. You know how I know? Someone here, and I'm not going to say who, offered to buy it.
I don't think Mr. Trask has any idea of the type of man he is up against here, and this challenge brings out one of those intense goosebumps moments we keep referring to. Frank's speech becomes increasingly emotional and impactful as his words resonate with the audience, transforming the atmosphere in the hall. His passionate defense of Charlie shakes the foundations of the school's moral stance, casting a spotlight on the hypocrisy of those in power.
Only Charlie here wasn't selling.
Sir, you're out of order.
Out of order? I show you out of order. You don't know what out of order is, Mr. Trask. I'd show you, but I'm too old. I'm too tired. I'm too fucking blind. If I were the man I was 5 years ago, I'd take a flamethrower to this place. Out of order. Who the hell do you think you're talking to? I've been around, you know. There was a time I could see, and I have seen, boys like these, younger than these, their arms torn out, their legs ripped off. But there is nothing like the sight of an amputated spirit. There is no prosthetic for that. You think you're merely sending this splendid foot soldier back home to Argonne with his tail between his legs, but I say you are executing his soul. And why? Because he's not a bad man. Bad men. You hurt this boy, you're gonna be bad bums. The lot of you.
As Frank nears the end of his speech, take note of his eyes. How good is Al Pacino at playing the part of a blind man? Without doubt, this is one of his finest performances.
And Harry, Jimmy, Trent, wherever you are out there, fuck you too!
Stand down, Mr. Slade.
I'm not finished. As I came in here, I heard those words, cradle of leadership. Well, when the bow breaks, the cradle will fall, and it has fallen here. It has fallen. Makers of men, creators of leaders, be careful what kind of leaders you're producing here. I don't know if Charlie's silence here today is right or wrong. I'm not a judge or jury, but I can tell you this. He won't sell anybody out to buy his future. And that, my friends, is called integrity. That's called courage. Now that's the stuff leaders should be made of.
Frank rounds off this remarkable speech, appealing to the committee as they hold Charlie's very future in their hands. And after these final words, how could they not follow Frank's advice on what is right and obviously what is wrong about the whole proceedings?
Now, I have come to the crossroads in my life. I always knew what the right path was. Without exception, I knew, but I never took it. You know why? It was too damn hard. Now here's Charlie. He's come to the crossroads. He has chosen a path. It's the right path. It's a path made of principle that leads to character. Let him continue on his journey. You hold this boy's future in your hands, committee. It's a valuable future. Believe me, don't destroy it, protect it. Embrace it. It's gonna make you proud one day, I promise you.
As Frank finishes his stirring speech, a silence falls over the room, the weight of his words hanging in the air. The headmaster, momentarily speechless, attempts to regain control, but the tide has turned in Charlie's favour. It becomes clear that Frank's defence has not only impacted the committee, but also the students, many of whom now look at Charlie with newfound respect. Listen as the chairperson of the committee reads out their decision.
Apparently that meeting will be unnecessary. Mrs. Hunziker?
The Joint Student-Faculty Disciplinary Committee needs no further sessions. They have come to a decision. Messrs. Havemeyer, Potter, and Jameson are placed on probation for suspicion of ungentlemanly conduct. It is further recommended that Mr. George Willis, Jr. receive neither recognition nor commendation for his cooperation. Mr. Charles Sims is excused from any further response to this incident.
Wow, that scene did it again. Goosebumps all over. Man, that's got to be one of Al Pacino's best performances. That speech at the hearing's more than just defence of Charlie. It's a declaration of character, about what it means to be truly honourable. It's raw, it's honest, and truly powerful. You can't help but be stirred by his words.
Stirred? Mate, that speech made me pop harder than I ever have. I thought I was going to explode right out of this box.
Yeah, mate. I guess it's time to wrap this whole thing up, though. Thanks for co-hosting the review with me, Phil. It's been a real pleasure. We'll have to do it again sometime.
No worries, Dave. I'd like to take this moment, though, to ask the viewers to drop a comment and let us know their thoughts. And if they like what we are doing, to give us a like and subscribe. So it's goodbye from me, everyone.
Yep, and it's goodbye from him. See ya.